Louisiana imported a swamp rodent for fur, and somehow the fur animal became a machine for eating marsh. That was not the plan. The plan looked clean. Raise the animals, use the fur, sell the pelts, make money. Everybody smiles, and the marsh stays exactly where it was. Tiny problem. The fur market did not stay perfect. The animals did not stay contained. And the animal did not understand that it was supposed to remain inventory. This is the story of Nutria, also called koipu, large semi-aquatic rodents from South America, with webbed feet, long round tails, bright orange teeth, and the look of a beaver redesigned by a nervous rat. Not evil, just alive. And that is where the trouble starts. Nutria were brought into Louisiana in the 1930s for the fur farming industry. At first, this did not look like an ecological disaster. It looked like commerce. Fur had value. A wetland animal could be raised, sold, and turned into coats. To a business person, a nutria was not a marsh problem. It was inventory with whiskers, which is already a strange image. Rows of cages, orange teeth, someone doing math and thinking, yes, this swamp creature is the future of fashion. But the clean plan depended on one very fragile idea. The animal would stay where humans put it. A coat stays on a rack. A trap stays in a shed. A business plan stays in a drawer. A nutria does not. A nutria swims. A nutria digs. A nutria eats. And if life is comfortable enough, a nutria makes more nutria. So when some escaped and some were released, the story changed shape. However it happened in each place, the important result was simple. Nutria got into the wild, and Louisiana's marshes were a very bad place to lose control of a hungry rodent. Because once nutria reached the marsh, they did not find a problem. They found dinner, wetland plants, roots, stems, rhizomes, green things holding the land together. To a person, a marsh can look like messy grass and water. To a nutria, it looked like an all-you-can-eat restaurant with no manager. And nutria are not polite little salad tasters. They are serious herbivores. They eat wetland vegetation and damage more than they consume. That is a rude feeding style. It is like eating one buffet plate, flipping 10 tables, and leaving. Funny in a cartoon, terrible in a marsh. Because marsh plants are not decoration, they are structure. Their roots hold soil. Their stems slow water. Their living mass helps keep the marsh from breaking apart. So when nutria strip vegetation away, they help turn living marsh into mud and mud into open water. That is the backfire. The fur animal began removing the plants that helped hold the coastline together. The product started eating the warehouse. Picture the scene. A green marsh, water channels curling through grass, then one nutria pops up and chews, then another, then another. The green patch gets holes, the holes become muddy gaps, the gaps become water, and nearby a human looks at the old fur plan like it might explain where the land went. It does not. The land is now lunch. This is why nutria became a serious problem in Louisiana. Coastal wetlands were already under pressure from storms, canals, erosion, sea level rise, and human changes to the landscape. Nutria did not create every coastal problem alone. Nature almost never gives you one neat villain. But in damaged places, they made the problem worse. They clipped down plants. They created eatouts where vegetation was stripped away. They burrowed into banks and levees. They turned soft green edges into exposed mud, and water had an easier job. That is the quiet horror of it. No explosion, no monster roar, just chewing, 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 until the map starts losing green. And unlike a normal business problem, this one had babies. Nutria reproduce quickly. In good conditions, a small population can grow with uncomfortable speed. This is the part humans keep forgetting. Inventory reproduces. That should be printed on every animal import form, because once the fur value dropped, the nutria did not vanish out of politeness. They did not meet in the reeds and say, well, the market no longer needs us, so we should leave. No, they stayed. They swam. They ate. They expanded. They became a problem with orange teeth. For a while, trapping nutria for fur helped keep numbers down. If pelts were worth money, people had a reason to remove them. But when the fur market declined, that pressure weakened. A coat can go out of style, a rodent cannot, and an invasive species becoming economically boring is dangerous. It stops being valuable to catch, but not good at living, so Louisiana had to create a new reason to remove them. One major response became the coast-wide Nutria control program, which pays registered hunters and trappers for tails. Say that slowly. Nutria tails, not a fashion product now. Proof, a long round receipt from the Marsh. This is where pest control turns into dark accounting. How many Nutria did you remove? Here are the tails. Thank you for your service to the wetland. The program has removed huge numbers over the years and helped reduce damage in many areas. But notice the loop. First, humans imported Nutria to make money from fur. Then decades later, humans paid to remove Nutria from the same landscape, same creature, different spreadsheet, completely different mood. And the Nutria themselves were not villains. They did not arrive with tiny maps and a plan to destabilize wetlands. They were doing what successful animals do in a place with food and opportunity: eating, burrowing, breeding, surviving. The strange part is not that Nutria behaved like Nutria. It is that humans treated a living animal like it could remain a tidy product. That is the wider pattern. People notice the one useful trait they want: the fur, the meat, the speed, the crop, the quick profit. Then reality adds the rest of the organism: appetite, escape, reproduction, burrows, damage, orange teeth. Nobody ordered orange teeth as a public problem. They came included. That is why introducing species for business can be so risky. The business plan ends at profit. The ecosystem keeps going. It keeps asking questions the spreadsheet skipped. What does this animal eat? Where does it sleep? Can it dig? Can it swim? How fast does it breed? And what happens when the market collapses, but the animal is still there? Those are not small questions. They are the difference between a fur farm and a marsh full of holes. If you drew the whole story as a cartoon, it would start with a person holding up a fancy coat, then a cage of Nutria, then one animal slipping into wet grass, then many animals, then green plants disappearing in circles, then a hunter holding up a tail like the world's worst refund receipt. And behind that, the marsh looks thinner than before. That is the lesson. A species is never only the thing you want from it. It is the whole package. You do not get fur without teeth. You do not get a business animal without appetite. You do not get a living product without the risk that it keeps living after the product stops selling. So the plan was simple. Import Nutria. Raise them for fur. Make money. But the market changed. The animals escaped. The marsh became food. And the creature that entered Louisiana as inventory became a reminder with whiskers. Nature does not care when the business model fails. If you liked this one, the next video is right here. Go watch that. And as always, let me know what you think down below. Thanks for watching, dummies. I'll see you in the next one.